Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is a little bit of a different experiment for you. We have two versions of Erling Haaland. An Erling Haaland that is 4'11" and an Erling Haaland that is 6'11". We're going to be simulating a couple of seasons to see would Erling Haaland be better as the smallest footballer in the world or as the tallest footballer in the world. Let's dive in and see what happens within season number 1. So we're coming at the start of the first season. See Erling Haaland on screen now, and you can see here to the left hand side of him, he's now 4'11". Tiny Haaland is here, and we wonder how Tiny Haaland will get on within this video. So the plan is we're going to go over Tiny Haaland's career first, over a 5-year stint at Manchester City, and then we're going to look at big 6'11" Erling Haaland and see how he gets on over the course of 5 years. And we try and work out and answer the question, would Erling Haaland be better as a really small player or a really tall player? So season 1, how did he get on? So season 1 came to an end now with Tiny Haaland. We've renamed to make it a little bit easier for the video. Tiny Haaland has finished his first season at Manchester City, and you can see in 34 games, he scored 17 goals, getting 5 assists on 4 player matches, getting a 7.36 average rating overall, which isn't too bad at all, really, for Tiny Haaland. But I do wonder what happened in terms of the league table. It seems to be, though, straight away from the first instincts here, that Manchester City won the league. Of course they did. Of course Man City won the league. With Tiny Haaland, Man City still won the league, playing 38 games, winning 23, drawing 11, and only losing 4 all season. And you can see that last season, Tiny Haaland came in with the second most goals in the Premier League, bagging 17 behind Ivan Toney, who bagged 15 in season number 1. So Tiny Haaland, you're not scared of scoring goals still. That is not a surprise there. 17 goals in season number 1 for Tiny Erling Haaland. A bit more of a deep dive now in terms of what happened this season for Haaland over at Manchester City. And we look through their schedule from that previous season. Did they actually win anything? They lost the Champions League final to Spurs. Oh my days, they lost it to Spurs. The last game of the season. And Tiny Haaland could have won the Champions League at Man City in the first season, but they lost out on penalties to Tottenham Hotspur. Oddly enough, looking at the penalty takers here as well, above my head here. There we go, a bit to the side. Edison took the second penalty for Man City and scored it, oddly enough. So that is a bit of an interesting one. Haaland didn't take one, though, interestingly there. So some interesting ones there. I mean, in the other cups as well, the FA Cup, they lost to Leicester on penalties there. You can see there as well. And the Carabao Cup, they went out to Arsenal in the 4th round. So only win the league title, 1 bit of silverware in season 1 with Tiny Haaland. So season number 3 that ended now. The year is 2024, and Man City, of course, have won the league yet again, playing 38 games, winning 30, drawing 5, and losing 3 all season. And Erling Haaland got more goals this season, getting 20 goals this season, but yet again failed to win the Golden Boot in behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We see now in total this season in all competitions, Erling Haaland played 57 games in total, scoring 31 goals, 9 from the penalty spot though as well, so that's not a bad return for Erling Haaland. Tiny Haaland, we should be calling him actually in fact here. I'm just curious now, did Man City do anything better in any of the cups this season? So the FA Cup, they won the FA Cup, beating Tottenham in that final at 2-0, and they actually have a Champions League final to play in a day's time. So I'm going to go forward a day quickly and see, could they win the Champions League final within the second season, with Tiny Haaland at the helm for them? Did they win the Carabao Cup as well, possibly? They lost on penalties to Arsenal. What is with these North London clubs and beating Man City in these finals right now? Let's go see what happens 1 day's time as Tiny Haaland plays in the Champions League final. So it seems Man City have bottled back-to-back Champions League finals. Of course, we went forward a day or two there. It was at Wembley as well. Imagine it being in England as well. Man City could have won it in England, and they yet again failed to do so as Barcelona beat them in the final. 2 Champions League finals in a row now for Tiny Haaland, and he's lost both of them. It is not going so well for little Haaland. But before we go any further in this video, I want you to get in the comment section right now, and you let me know in the comment section, who do you think's going to win, Monster Haaland or Tiny Erling Haaland? And while you're down there, you'll see a little button saying subscribe. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up if you're enjoying this video and enjoying the content here on this channel. Let's get back to the video. So we come back for another new season now. The year is 2025 and Man City have won it yet again. Man City win the Premier League, 38 games, 31 victories, 2 draws and 5 losses, with Tiny Haaland up front, with Haaland bagging 20 goals this season for Manchester City. But could they do anything in any other competition this season? I mean, you can see now, 5 in a row. They're doing pretty good, Man City. Can they keep it up for the rest of this simulation? We'll find out very shortly. But Tiny Haaland, how did he do in all comps this season then? So we can see now at the bottom of the screen. He played 52 games, getting 29 goals. That's not a bad return for the little man. Little Erling Haaland, of course, at 4'11". And yet again, we see now in terms of cups, they went out to Spurs in the FA Cup. The Carabao Cup, they actually went out the third round, the Spurs as well. Wow, Spurs have everyone's number, it seems, this season. Harry Kane getting the goal in that one. And it seems as well that we have another Champions League final to play tomorrow as we get to the first. Actually, it's today, actually. Today, on the 31st of May, as Man City take on Liverpool. Surely this time round, little Erling Haaland can do the business and take Man City to glory. And this time they have done it in fact, but it wasn't little Holland that took them all the way. It's Moyes Caicedo of Brighton who joined Man City within this simulation. So Man City now have officially won their first Champions League trophy with little tiny Holland leading the line from him. He did come off for Julian Alvarez, it seems here, but beside that, Champions League in the bag for Man City. Let's go forward another year now and see how our little man Haaland gets on. So another season has passed and it's not gone so well for Manchester City this time around. They didn't win the Premier League for the first time within these simulations. They did not win the Premier League. Liverpool come top on 93 points, while Man City come in second on 91 points, 2 points away. Playing 38 games, of course, winning 29, drawing 4, and losing 5 for this season. But you can see straight away, Tiny Holland didn't even make the Golden Boot list. Phil Foden scored more than him this season on 21 goals. Tiny Holland, in fact, is... He's all the way down here in 16th. He's all the way down here in 16th. Got 11 goals this season. Did Tiny Holland get a big injury? To that the reason why he hasn't played much this season, possibly? He missed 3 months. He actually missed 3 months this season. So that would explain why he's been out and not getting as many goals this season. Tiny Holland getting a tiny injury. I'll tell you a tiny injury. That for 3 months, you can see there. But Haaland not getting as many goals this season. He's playing 40 games in total in all competitions and scoring just the 18 goals. It's not too bad, really. Almost scoring half of his games this season for Tiny Haaland. But in terms of silverware this season for Man City, they did actually, in fact, win the Carabao Cup, beating Southampton 2-0 in the final. The FA Cup didn't go so well, losing to Spurs. Yet again, this time Papi Mata start getting the goal for that one. And the Champions League, they went out again. They went out this time at the semi-finals. So they didn't actually get to the final this time round, but they went out to Real Madrid, losing 2-0 in both of their legs, 4-0 aggregate. See Man City crash out the Champions League in the semi-finals and finish second in the Premier League. So let's dive now to our final season with Tiny Haaland, and then we can get a tally of how many goals he scored over the course of his 5-year stint at Manchester City. So our final season, our season number 5, comes to an end with Tiny Haaland at Manchester City, and it's been their worst season yet, it seems, from the Premier League aspect anyway, because they came third in the Premier League, finishing behind Arsenal and Chelsea. Liverpool in 4th, Man City playing 38 games, winning 24, drawing 10, and losing 4 all season. And they didn't get in the Golden Boot race yet again. Evan Ferguson leading the line there, so one for your Wonderkid watchers. Ferguson looks pretty good a few years on. Tiny Haaland came 7th in the Golden Boot race this year, getting only 14 goals in 29 appearances. But throughout the season, though, he played a monster, 46 games, scoring 22, getting 11 assists as well, so a couple of assists there for Erling Haaland this season. But again, it hasn't really gone to plan, though, as Man City didn't win the Premier League for a second consecutive season. And that run of getting 5 in a row seems to have been the curse for Man City, as Liverpool and Arsenal have won their most recent competition, it seems here. I'm just wondering now in terms of schedules, what else has happened? And hasn't gone to plan yet again, it seems here. So we'll start now back up here. Carabao Cup 4th round, they got knocked out by Arsenal in a 2-1 defeat there. We go as far as the FA Cup this time. They got to the final and they won the FA Cup, beating Manchester United 1-0 thanks to a Liam Delap goal in the 81st minute. So a bit of silverware won along the way this season there. And in Champions League, they lost to Liverpool. They lost out to Liverpool. A Mariba goal just after half-time there. It seems to be the business. I'm wondering if Slosboy went off injured here at 46 minutes. And that's when they brought Mariba on. Possibly no, saying Mariba started here. Slosboy went off for someone else in the 46th minute. Maybe SMS then possibly. SMS came off the bench. Wow. What a team Liverpool have got here, by the way. I mean, I'm interested to see now, actually. What is the Man City team looking like? This is 5 years down the line as well. How are we looking in terms of players now? So Edison starts in net from there. They brought in James Trafford. That's nice. Diaz starts in defence. Gavardio's playing left back for him. Max Aarons, Rodri playing as centre back these days. Kimmich in the midfield. Moise Caicedo mentioned before. Calvin Phillips is still there, but he's transfer listed as well, so he'll be going soon. Kevin De Bruyne is playing for the under-18s. You hate to see it. Big Kev De Bruyne at 35 now. I mean, he still looks absolutely insane, to be honest, at 35. I'd still play him in the first team, personally. And, of course, then Tiny Haaland. But he's now actually wanted by PSG. So 4'11" Haaland could be on the move at the end of this simulation, but 5 years in, we've seen what Haaland can do. Let's go have a look now over the big one. 6'11" Erling Haaland, and we'll dive through it, and then we can come together at the very end of the video and tally up all of their goals. So we're back again now at the start of a new simulation. Of course, now it's been one season. I mean, see now we have Monster Haaland. He's 6'11". What an absolute unit this guy is. An absolute unit, Erling Haaland now. He's a monster. He can jump and reach of 18 as well, with a heading of 15. I'd love to see how many headers goals he got this season. So yeah, 6'11" Erling Haaland. How did it go in your first season? He won the Premier League title with Manchester City, playing 38, winning 27, drawing 9, and only losing 2 games all season. And Monster Haaland got 18 goals this season in the progress. So not a bad first season for Monster Haaland. But I wonder now, in terms of the actual scheduling, let's have a look. How else did they get on? They have a Champions League final to play tomorrow. Sorry, it's 2 weeks away, actually, oddly enough, against Barcelona. It's normally the day afterwards, May 31st, June 1st, but for some reason in this season, it's going to be the 10th of June. So we'll go ahead to that in just a moment. The FA Cup, they got knocked out in the 5th round to Liverpool. And the Carabao Cup, they went out the 3rd round to Spurs. Spurs seem to have our number in these simulations, it seems. But Monster Erling Haaland, wonder how he'll get on in the Champions League final against Barcelona. Let's go find out. So we come back now, dilating, and see it actually went absolutely brutal for Barcelona as Man City dominated them 4-0. I mean, we got to see the Monster Haaland goal. We've got to see how big he looks within this game, because I bet he's looking at an absolute unit at 6'11". So yeah, Man City dominating Barcelona, and in season number 1, Man City have won themselves a Champions League trophy. We have 6'11" Haaland. I mean, oh my god, I can see him top of the screen there. He looks an absolute unit. Alvarez now has the ball on the right hand side here. Look at Haaland. Look at the size of him. Oh my god, it's no wonder he won that header. He's 6'11". He was almost called off the VAR, it seems, as well. But Monster Haaland bags the Champions League trophy and the winner's medal in season number 1. I'm already thinking Monster Haaland might win this against little tiny Haaland. And just like that, we're back now for season number 2 with Monster Haaland at Manchester City. The year is 2024, of course. And how did Manchester City get on this season? So we'll start off going through the league form. We see here quite got some good victories here. Loads of clean sheets. Monster Haaland getting goals, abundance. Of course he is. There's no surprise there. The Carabao Cup, they drew with Arsenal here in the second leg. In the first leg, they lost 2-0. So Carabao Cup went out the semi-finals. The FA Cup ended in a final 3-1 defeat. Oh my god, they've lost both finals. They lost to Liverpool 3-1 in the FA Cup final. And they've lost to Barcelona this time round in the Champions League final. Playing Barca yet again in that final. And this time losing out 2-1. Monster Haaland did get a goal though, which is nice to see. But otherwise, didn't really go to plan. But the Premier League though, they won the Premier League quite easily, it seems. I say easily. The level with Spurs, actually, that's level with Liverpool, actually. So, Joe Gilford got the most goals this season, 25 goals. That is absolutely insane to see. But yeah, Man City, 28 games, 26 victories, 9 draws, 3 losses. Goal difference of 50 isn't too bad. Where is Monster Haaland in the goal scoring? He came 7th on 16 goals. So, not so much of a monster as much as I thought it would have been this season, really. With Joe Gilford stealing the headlines, 22 years of age now, 25 goals, up front for Leeds. He looks very, very good. Maybe we should get him instead of Monster Haaland. And just like that, we dive back now for the 3rd season now with Monster Haaland at Manchester City. Quick on touch of me, you can see above my head here. In 90 appearances, 54 goals. So it's going quite well for Monster Haaland. But how did it go for Man City this season with him at the helm? They came 2nd in the Premier League and see straight away here. 38 games, winning 28, drawing 5, losing 5. Losing out by 2 points to Liverpool, and Monster Haaland only coming 2nd in the Golden Boot race on 20 goals. But in terms of Man City's season, what else happened this season for them? They went out to Barcelona in the Champions League quarter-finals this season. They lost in extra time to Leeds, wow, in the FA Cup 5th round. It seems like it's been an absolutely barren season here at Manchester because they lost to Cardiff, wow. They lost to Cardiff in the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup as well. And Monster Haaland season ends the first time within the simulation with no trophies for Manchester City. What a season. Man City have absolutely flopped it. But we'll deep dive a bit more into Erling Haaland's season. Of course, mentioned the Premier League, 20 goals in 30 appearances. That's a really good return for him. And in all competitions, he played 46 games this season, scoring 25, assisting 5, and getting an XG of 20 with an average overall rating of 7.32. Not bad for the monster up front. 4 goals in Champions League, 20 in the Prem, 1 in the FA Cup. I mean, it's more case of Man City didn't do very well in the other competition themselves. So going forward now to season number 4, it'll be interesting to see, can Monster Haaland redeem Manchester City's fortunes and get them back in the hunt for some silverware? Let's go find out. And we're back for the final season now with Monster Haaland at Manchester City, of course. He is 6'11" in the universe, and it's our final season to see, can Erling Haaland take Man City all the way to win some silverware? And by the looks of it, no, because the Premier League ended badly. Man City came third in the Premier League behind Chelsea and Liverpool on 85 points. But Monster Haaland, 19 goals in total. That's not a bad return for the monster. But in terms of silverware for this season, it didn't go to plan. Arsenal beating us in the Carabao Cup semi-final 2-1 and 2-1 in both legs. Didn't go to plan there. The FA Cup also not going too great. You can see here, quarter-final defeat. This time on penalties to Aston Villa. And the Champions League being knocked out in the semi-finals by Liverpool, meaning Man City win nothing this final season. Monster Haaland doesn't do enough to take Man City to win all the silverware in our final season of this simulation. So, what we're going to do now, let's get to the report and see who scored the most goals over 5 seasons. Little Tiny Haaland or Monster Erling Haaland? Right, so I've done the maths, and here are the numbers. So Monster Haaland was like Monster Haaland, of course. In season number 1, he bagged 24 goals. Isn't bad at all in his first season under Pep Guardiola. And going on from there, he got better. 28 goals in season number 2 and 25 goals in season number 3. But in season number 4, where he had some issues, only bagging 9 goals in season number 4 for the Monster. Before season 5, of course, bagging 29 goals, his best return in those 5 seasons. But it's Little Haaland who will steal the headlines, because Tiny Haaland started off with 26 goals in his first season, outdoing the Monster, of course. Season number 2, 31 goals, outdoing the Monster yet again. And I mean, I can cut it short for you. Outdid the Monster every season bar the last one. Season 3, 29 goals. Season 4, 22 goals. And in season number 5, he bagged 22 goals. So in total for you can see now at the bottom of the screen here, underneath all the scores, Monster Haaland over 5 seasons bagged a monster 115 goals, which isn't a bad return at all. But Tiny Haaland at 4'11" outdoes his monster opponent here today, as he scored 130 goals in those 5 seasons. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you're liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Of course, this just shows size doesn't always matter. The little guy does it for the big guy. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again very, very soon.